Hi guys, welcome to our daily encounter. In Jeremiah chapter 27, Yahweh gives the nations a way out. He sends Jeremiah with a yoke to the various nations, and he tells them, hey, if you'll just bring yourself under the yoke of Babylon, everything will go okay for you. But if you don't, then in verse 8 he says, then he was going to punish that nation with the sword, with famine, and with pestilence. And so the Lord basically gives them a choice: either submit to Babylon or be destroyed. And if they would submit to Babylon, they would be spared. And this was true also for Judah. The same message was given to Judah. And so the Lord, even though he was bringing punishment against the nations, especially for his own people who had rebelled against him, even though there was an impending invasion that was going to take place, God had already established that Babylon was going to be the means by which he was going to punish the nations and also correct his own people. The Lord gave them a way out and said, if you will submit to this, then everything will turn out okay for you. And as we think about this, really what the Lord is calling them to do is to exercise faith. On the surface, it might look like the Lord is just asking them to obey. Listen to what I'm saying and obey what I'm telling you to do. Submit to Babylon. But if we look a little bit deeper, we can see that this is really a test of faith for them. Yes, it was something that they needed to obey, but they would only be able to obey to the extent that they had faith that God would be good for his word, and that if they did what was contrary to what would be natural, that everything would come out all right. You could think about if a nation was threatening the United States, and it would be very difficult for the American citizens, especially for the president and for Congress and others, to say, yeah, we'll just surrender over to this nation without a contest, and we'll just let them come in and take over our nation. That would be a very difficult decision to take. And it would only be through exercising faith that would even be possible. That whoever it was that was in charge, the powers that be, would have to exercise extreme faith to say, you know what, we are going to let this nation come in and take over us, but it's going to be okay because God says it's going to be okay. That would be a great exercise of faith, to obey the Lord in that way. And so this gives us a great example of how faith and obedience works together. That when we are obedient to the Lord, it's really an exercise of faith. And when we exercise faith, it really results in obedience. And the two go hand in hand. That's what the book of James really is all about. The fact that we have faith in Jesus Christ means also that we have submitted ourselves to him as our king. And he is our salvation. Here in Jeremiah 27, they're told to submit to Babylon, and if so, then they would be saved. For us, we're told to submit to Christ, and everything will be okay. Even though submitting to Christ might bring upon us some degree of hardships. Definitely submitting to Babylon would have gave them some hardships. And it took faith to say that, yes, those hardships are at least worth experiencing, because at least our lives will be spared. The same thing is true with Christ. Yes, there will be some hardships in submitting to Christ, but it'll be worth it because our lives will be spared. We will have eternal life if we give our lives over to him. And so hopefully, as we read Jeremiah chapter 27, yes, we will see the call to obedience in this chapter, but we'll also see even deeper than that the call for faith. Faith in Yahweh, faith in God, to trust that even though this would not be a favorable situation, this would not be a appealing situation to let another nation come in and take over your nation, it would be a great exercise of faith and trust in God that he would keep his promise, that everything would work out okay, and that they would have their lives spared. Unfortunately, the nations didn't listen. But had they listened, things would have gone a lot better for them. And they would have been able to exercise faith and obedience in the Lord and ultimately save their nation and save their lives. And hopefully we can do the same through Jesus Christ. Exercise faith and obedience in him by submitting to him, and also taking by faith that in doing so, we will have eternal life. So here's some things we can reflect on and think about as we do our reading today. With that, guys, I do thank you for watching the video today. Hope you guys have a great day. Love you guys. God bless.